Well, I came here because I knew there was a problem with palm oil. The more I found out, the more worried I became. I held a meeting in London in the House of Commons with the ape alliances, the retailers in the UK, the palm oil producers, and everybody came together. And there was the round table as the good guys that were going to come through and solve the problems of the palm oil industry. But it was quite clear that there was not buy-in from every sector. And therefore the round table seemed to be dragging its feet. Now, whether that's fair or not, that was my perception. So when I got the invitation to come out and see for myself what was going on, I was delighted. Yesterday was a special day. We got in a helicopter and we flew over the rainforest. And yes, you could see where logging had taken place, not just once, but sometimes more than that. As it regrows, it's logged again. And then you could see where areas had been burnt by fires, either deliberate or accidental. And you could see where agricultural land was being cleared. And we also saw patches of genuine virgin forest. It was amazing. I mean, first of all, I don't think we get the size. You don't get the size of the plantations, you don't get the size of the smallholders' impact on the environment, and you don't get the size of the untouched forest. The sad part was the impact of logging, what it looks like when the logs have been taken out, where people are clearing the land unofficially without the right licenses, and where people had planted palm oil plantations illegally. So there's a lot of conflicts going on. We came here today really to see the orphan orangutan adoption program. It's been so moving, so powerful, and they were kind enough to let me hold an orangutan. And when you see it or even hold an orangutan, and I guess that's quite a rare experience, it really brings it all into focus, and it was a very powerful and emotional and delightful thing for me to have been able to do. The issue of tourism is crucial because if people learn and understand why things matter, it makes it easier to generate political support for things like preserving habitat. There's British involvement all over the place. We've seen our government sponsoring scientific research. We've seen young girls that have given up their gap year, have paid their airfare and then paid to be here. And they're paying a lot of money, but what a great experience. And what a privilege for them also to be able to do that.
It's been absolutely incredible.
And what have they made you do?
Well, our placement at the moment is in the clinic, so we look after little babies and these ones. So we're like feeding, cleaning, and then we take them out for like enrichment.
I just hope that when people are making decisions, they can feel the depth of support, the international support, and the commitment that people like those young ladies made. They want to do the right thing. I think this is one of those rare debates where everyone's on side, and what we in the political sphere need to do is to start removing the barriers. Let's help the good guys, let's set the examples, let's create the environment so that there's a premium for good behaviour, there's rewards, there's success. One of the best things about the Malaysian situation is that it is so well supported politically. If you're going to be the curator, owner of a vital piece of biomass, then having that political management is critical. What was really reassuring was to see that that was actually not just a theory, but being brought about in practice. And if that happened everywhere else in the world, I don't think we'd be as worried and as concerned as we are at the moment about endangered species. Today started most impressively. We went to the plantation and then we went on to see some of the social projects such as the Humana School, which is providing education for the children of Indonesian workers who don't necessarily have a passport or nationality and therefore are not eligible for the Malaysian school program. We're seeing teachers coming in from abroad to teach these young people. And on the wall was the sign Derby logo saying, "Making sustainable real." And I felt that that was a tremendous message that when you start to build on the virtuous cycle of palm oil production, there are genuine benefits, not just for the people, the workers, the environment, but also for all of us. And it's an easy way to provide genuinely good education for these young people who really wouldn't get it otherwise. And that could create social problems going forward when they're young adults. So, there's a tremendous amount of good being done. And then we went on from there to see the rest of the palm oil story, the factory, the conversion from the fruit into the oil as we know it before it's refined and before it ends up on our shop shelves. My reservations about the roundtable for sustainable palm oil is that it is not moving fast enough. I want, when I'm a customer in the shops in the UK, to be able to buy palm oil from a company like Sandarbi who have produced it in a sustainable way. Until that roundtable agreement is on the package, how can I confidently do that? So the purpose of coming here was to, first of all, learn about the process, which I've enjoyed doing, but I kind of knew what was going on. It was really to support a company that was going hell for leather to hit that sustainability target, to encourage the people who are doing the right thing to, emphasize that we in the UK want to buy their product when they've gone to the trouble of making it genuinely sustainable. One of the reasons why people are worried about palm oil is the orangutans. So you go and you see the orangutan rehabilitation and they tell you that the big estates are doing the right thing, but it's the little guys, the smallholders, the private individuals who simply can't afford to take any losses on their very small operation where the problems lie.
The other component on the rare, endangered and threatened animal species, they neither have that capacity. This is where we can educate.
So drawing them into that education process is critical, isn't it?
The issue here is how do you basically pull them in?
Yeah. As much as 30% of palm oil that is labelled sustainable is coming from these operations that are not necessarily going to qualify for certification. If that's where it's coming from, what is the big companies like Sandarbi doing to draw up the game of the smallholders? And that's why, in a way, the Roundtable's got it right to include a percentage of smallholder palm oil under a sustainable label umbrella. And that's why it was important to find out how they were being dragged up rather than the palm oil industry coming down to the lowest common denominator. My concern was that if one person is doing the right thing, we've all got to row in behind them and say, right, well done, let's keep going, make this guy the leader and follow him. You don't do that if you simply buy cheap palm oil. You undermine the efforts that have been put in, and therefore we should all be doing everything we can to support Sandarbi and its efforts to lead. And from everything I've seen, it is quite clear that not only is this company leading, but Malaysia is also in a different league to some of the other palm oil producers. They've got proper government backing, proper government buy-in, commitment, funding, and all the right things are happening here. When you look at the film, I hope you'll see, as I did, things like the moving orangutan pictures, the images from the school where they are really being lifted from nowhere, from no education, from really no hope, to a good education in a good environment, a future, a job, everything coming together, all based on an industry that is not particularly well understood, that is trying, with its biggest players, to do the right thing, has got in place an agreement that will ensure that that virtuous activity is spread. I hope that people will begin to see that from what's going on here, if they buy into that and join in, we can lead the world away from the damage, the loss of habitat, the loss of species, great ape species, but also there are rhinos, there are elephants. Borneo is so rich in natural treasures. How on earth are we going to protect that if we don't buy palm oil from people who are doing the right thing like Sandarbi?